Ready to go? Are we going? We are live. I assume we're live.
You're live
Nico,
now.
are we live?
Yes, you are.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. I apologize, everyone, for the brief delay here. We'll begin the Planning Committee meeting of Akron City Council. I believe all members are here. Roll call, Sarah, if you don't mind.
Sure. Lesko,
Aye.
Kamer,
Aye.
Connor,
Aye.
Baylor,
Aye.
Mosley.
Aye.
All committee members are present.
Thank you, Ms. Clerk. I'd like to entertain a motion that we accept the minutes of the previously held meeting.
So move. Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. The ayes have it. Very good. We have two items that are up for a public hearing today. And the procedure is that we'll ask for a presentation from the planning department, and they will speak to us in reference to the conditional use request. And we also have a zoning code change today. They'll inform us on that. Then we'll open up the public hearing, ask for anyone in favor, anyone against, if there should be questions. Then we'll close the public hearing, open it up to questions from the committee members, and then we'll ask for questions from the council members. And we'll, in essence, repeat that process this evening at 7 o'clock. However, the only difference is that we will make a recommendation this evening, either in favor, against, or to take time on an item. So those are the procedures that we will be following here today in reference to the public hearings, of which we have two. So therefore, the first item that's up for public hearing is ordinance authorizing conditional use to establish a type A daycare home at 1214 Wilbur Avenue. I also failed to mention, though, that we will be swearing in those who wish to testify right before the public hearing. So with that, Mr. Antonucci, it's all you.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman, committee members. Nicole Blackson is requesting permission to establish a child daycare home, a type A, at this location. Proposed daycare home, Mary Lou's Provider Program, LLC, would occupy the first floor of this 1.5-story, 1,154 square foot house. The facility would provide services and activities for up to 12 children at a time ranging in age from infant to preteen. The daycare would be operated daily from 5 a.m. to midnight. There would be no overnight stays. The petitioner has stated that the rear yard outdoor play area will be fenced. The petitioner has operated a type B home here since 2016. She has a childhood development and associate certificate and previously worked for Morning Glory's Family and Childhood Development Center. Proposed use should not be intrusive to the neighborhood because the rear yard outdoor play area will be fenced and the majority of the activities are conducted indoors. The dwelling contains a detached garage with sufficient driveway length for drop off and pickup. This property is well maintained. Providing quality daycare services is beneficial to the entire city. Both planning staff and planning commission recommend approval subject to conditions. Thank you.
Thank you for that report, Mr. Antonucci. At this time, we'll ask if there's anyone here that wishes to testify, reference the conditional use request at 1214 Wilbur Avenue. Please be sworn in from a representative of our law department, which is Rebecca Advent. Is there anyone here on this item?
Mr. Chair, we do have Nicole Blackson here.
Thank you. I see your hand up. Nicole, could you please turn on the video portion for the record? Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. We'll ask that you be sworn in now.
Could you please raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth? If so, please answer, I do.
I do.
I do.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Advent. We'll open up the public hearing portion of this conditional use request and ask if there's anyone wishing to speak in favor. And I see Nicole Blackson is here. I apologize if I mispronounce your name. My eyes aren't that good. So
That's okay.
yeah, if you could please provide first your name and address. Thank you.
My name is Nicole Blackson. My address is 1214 Wilbur Avenue, Akron, Ohio, 44301.
Thank you. Is there anything you'd like to mention in reference to the conditional use request?
No, not in addition to what was stated already. All those things are still true, and I look forward to getting started.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Is there anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this conditional use request? Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Anyone? Anyone wishing to speak against? Anyone? Okay, very good. We'll close the public hearing portion and now open it up to the committee members. Mr. Kamer, I see your hand up.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My questions are for Mike Antonucci, my routine questions that I ask. Mike, during any time, Planning Commission, or even before or after, did anybody come and speak against this proposal?
No, we haven't had any objection on this one.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it, Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Kamer. Anyone else from the committee have any questions or comments? Anyone? Okay, anyone from City Council have any questions or comments? Okie dokie. We'll now move on to the second item and invite you back, Ms. Blackson. This evening at 7 o'clock, as mentioned before, we'll have an additional public hearing, go through the procedures yet again, and then we'll make a recommendation to all of council in terms of the conditional use request. So thank you very much for attending this afternoon, and looking forward to possibly seeing you this evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Okay, the second item that's up for public hearing is an ordinance amending, supplementing Title 15, Chapter 153, zoning code, Section 153-100, purpose, Section 153-110, certificates of occupancy, Section 153.130, enforcement, Section 153 definitions, 153.199 penalty by removing ambiguity and grammatical errors while reformatting to add clarity. Very good. Mr. Antonucci.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman, committee members. Yeah, in an effort to remove ambiguity and add clarity, the planning staff and zoning staff worked with the law department to make amendments to Article 1, general provisions of the zoning code. The bulk of the changes made are to Section 153.140 definitions. Definitions for terms that are referenced in the body of the zoning code but have not been included in the definition section are added. And in some cases, cross-reference to other chapters of the Municipal Code of Ordinances. Some definitions are broken out of hard-to-find groupings and re-alphabetized to be more user-friendly. The overall outline format is standardized. In other sections of Article 1, grammatical errors are cleaned up, and in one case, language under 153.199, penalty, is amended to clarify original intent, which is to allow subsequent fines of $1,000 after a third offense. These proposed amendments are simply a housekeeping effort to reorganize and clarify an article of the zoning code that has undergone numerous amendments over several decades. None of the proposed changes alter the regulatory intent of the code language as originally adopted, and both planning staff and planning commission recommend approval. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Antonucci. We'll ask if there's anyone here wishing to speak in terms of the public hearing. I know that I don't believe anyone has signed up, but just in case, be sworn in from a representative of our law department. Anyone on, Sarah Viviano?
No, there is no one here for this one.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll forego that portion, but we will conduct the public hearing portion pursuant to our rules and open up the public hearing, ask if there's anyone wishing to speak in favor, anyone in favor, asking for anyone against. Very good. We'll close that quick public hearing, and now we will open up to any committee members that may have questions or comments in reference to this. Any council members that may have questions to this? Mr. Malik?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Antonucci, just I guess a comment on in the definitions. I see that there's a change, reformatting with regard to church to include, examples of other religious buildings. I just, a suggestion would be that perhaps we can change, the actual definition so that it's, like house of worship or something, so that, church is not kind of the default thing. Obviously, there are, as this definition, displays, there's other things like mosques and synagogues and temples, and classifying all of those as a church, while, substantively, there won't be any difference. I think it would be a little bit more inclusive to have a broader definition.
Right, yeah, we did look at that, and really what we were trying to do was to make as little change as possible, but just really kind of clarify the existing language that we have. But we will need to definitely go back through the code and, individually look at a lot of those, the general code language itself, and then, the definitions that go along with that. So there will be groupings of things that we'll be obviously looking at over the next couple of years. So.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions or comments at this time? Okay, very good. We'll, of course, have an additional public hearing this afternoon, I should say this evening, but there is quite a few adjustments. It sounds as though it's just mostly in reference to trying to clean up the language and make sure grammatically we're in bounds, but obviously we're going to want to give everyone time to review. So in all likeliness, we're going to be taking time on that this evening. I'm going to request that. So just to let everybody know. Thank you very much. We'll move on to the balance of the agenda. At this time, I'm going to ask that we take time on 3, 4, and 5. And item number 6, which is the ordinance modifying the existing conditional use, which permits the establishment of a motor vehicle storage area at 259 West Market Street, Akron 44303, declaring emergency. This public hearing was held last week. I don't know if the ward council person, Ms. Nancy Holland, would want to make any comments or not, but can open it up to her.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As I commented last week, there have been comments submitted by the nearby neighbor who initiated this matter via a complaint and request for enforcement. This, as much as anything, is a matter that arose because of, for lack of a better way to put it, poor neighborhood relations. It's a story that bespeaks the need for neighbors to perhaps work better together. There has been a workmanlike effort on the part of Cherokee Holding, doing business as Budget, and their earnest counsel to do everything to bring the property, the location into better condition and to present just a better appearance on the West Market facing business location. And the curb cut in question, particularly, has turned out to be not a source of harm. A study has determined that this has not presented the safety risk that was perhaps the original central concern. And for all of these reasons, I would suggest that this is a use that should be permitted, although I would gently and respectfully submit that we should perhaps do a better job of monitoring the conditions of this use going forward. And thank you for the time.
Thank you, Representative Holland. Is there any further questions or comments in reference to this? I do know that we've had a couple meetings out there, a lot of discussion though, between Representative Holland and our zoning folks, as well as the attorneys for the other side. And I know Mr. Antonucci and others have been reviewing this as well. But with that, we've heard a support from the ward council representative. So with this, I'm going to ask for a motion for a favorable report with suspension of the rules. Is there a motion?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Very good. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Thank you. Those against? Very good. We'll then report that out this evening favorable. And with that, we'll just go ahead and move on to the balance of, to the new legislation at this time. Which is begins with item number 2. Ordinance authorizing conditional use to establish an automatic truck wash at 184 Maslin Road.
We recommend this is referred for a public hearing.
Very good. Will all those in favor of referring signify by saying aye.
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 Thank you. We'll refer that item. Number 3 is an ordinance authorizing conditional use to establish an automobile service station at 755 Copley Road.
Yes, please refer for public hearing.
Very good. All those in favor of referring signify by saying aye.
Aye.
4, authorizing conditional use to construct an outdoor advertising display at 389 Fountain Street.
Yes, please refer for public hearing.
Okay, all those in favor of referring signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thanks. 5 is ordinance authorizing conditional use to construct a fueling station convenience store at northwest corner of East Waterloo and Hillbish.
Yes, please refer for public hearing.
Very good. All those in favor of referring signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. 6 is authorizing the purchase of 89-91 Linwood Avenue pursuant to a FEMA hazard mitigation grant program. Somebody here on this?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this is Chris Luddle. I can speak to that. Back in November of 2020, this council passed or approved the mayors to enter an agreement with the FEMA mitigation plan. So this included 9 homes down off of South Main in the Wilbeth, Linwood, Ralston area. We did acquire 1 home a few months back, which is in the process of being demoed after the asbestos. And this, we have another agreement. We wanted to bring these in groups, but we're given the opportunity, these homeowners, to find another location to move to. So this is the second home. She's ready to move. We are paying appraised value. Most of this funding is from the federal government. Out of the 1.2 million, 922,000 is from the federal government. 153,000 is from the state to proceed with this program. So with that, I will take any questions.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Luddle, on that. This is a 2-unit?
This is, yes, sir.
Okay.
So the 1 unit is vacant and she lived in the other half, the owner.
Okay, good. And the purchase price, 80,000. That's the appraised price. Is there a rush on it, or can we place it on consent?
We could place it on consent, but she's ready to get going. Yes, that's fine. Consent's fine.
Okay. Questions or comments from any committee members at this time? Any questions or comments? Is the committee okay to, I guess, place on the consent agenda?
Motion for consent.
Is there a second? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against, the ayes have it. Very good. Thank you. Then the next item is 7, which is ordinance approving the sale of various city-owned properties pursuant to the city's vacant land reuse program in order to facilitate the productive reuse of the property and to reduce the cost to the city and the taxpayers in maintaining vacant lots. Somebody here on this one?
Yes, I think that would be me. Hello.
Okay.
Summer Hall here with Office of Integrated Development. I have 3 lots that are that have been inquired about. One on Himmelwright Boulevard for Peter Sands. Peter Sands plans to build a home on this lot within a year or so. Also at 753 McKinley Avenue, Paul Marcel Renee would like to purchase this lot also to build a home for he and his family. And then I have Vernon Odom Boulevard, Marlon Jones, who would like to build a 4-plex, as well as include 6 parking spots. And he has been in contact with our zoning department and knows all the requirements to develop the apartment buildings.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that report. My question is this a typical price that we sell these at?
Yes.
Very good. Questions or comments from committee members? Nothing. Is consent agenda okay with this, Summer?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay, cool. Okay, very good. I'd like to entertain a motion for consent agenda on item number 7.
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor of consent agenda signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, thanks, everybody. And that ends the planning committee meeting of Akron City Council. Turn it over to Sarah Viviano.
Thanks, everyone. Our next committee of the day will be the Public Service Committee. That will begin at 2 o'clock. Those committee members are Mosley, Kamer, Holland, Lombardo, and McKittrick. Again, that's the Public Service Committee, and it will begin at 2 o'clock. We will stop